What's going on YouTube? TradeModeJames back with another mvis price action video. Today in this video, we're going to talk about the price action, today's close, and the potential reversal that could happen going into later this week. Before I do that, please hit the like and subscribe button. All of you, please turn the notification bell on so you get notified when I drop a video or go live. Let's get it. All right, guys, basically we're going to start on the higher time frames here. The weekly time frame shows reversal signals, all right? Now, none of this stuff is guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed in these markets, but typically when we have a golden zone get tested and rejected off of, that is a bullish signal. It's a bullish confirmation. Now we do have a big fat trend line here going straight across. We do have three touch points really. If we can get price to close back above this trend line, we can call this the third touch point really, and that would basically verify the trend. All right, like over here, if we were to draw a trend line in, we didn't really have three touch points here on the dips. We just had one and it broke straight through. So here we already have one, then we have a dip, then we have two. So 1, 2. This would be the third one. If we can get back above that trend line, that's going to verify an uptrend. All right, three touch points to verify an uptrend. And also, not only that, like I said, we have a golden zone rejection here on this candle on September 6th. Let me zoom in here on the weekly time frame. You guys can see nice bullish rejection here off this 50% retracement zone. This is a reversal zone by nature. So typically, when price does a 50 to 61.8% retracement, we do get a rejection. It's a reversal zone by nature. If price were to have closed below basically 385, we were probably in for some downside, but that didn't happen. All right, we got the rejection, and right now we're kind of in a limbo state. All right, we do need to get back above this trend line. That is something that needs to happen. That's probably going to be the third real confirmation that price will make a higher high on this move. And there's not too much to talk about in this video because we just have to wait for that to happen, right? I base everything off confirmations. Right now we have some decent ones, but the real one's going to be closing back above that trend line on this move. If we go down to a daily time frame, you're going to see that this we did have a bearish pattern present itself here. Okay, we had the head and shoulders pattern, the neckline going right at the top of this golden zone, basically a little bit higher, maybe like 450, something like that. A little bit non-traditional, but either way, we did have a rejection of this pattern. All right, so basically the pattern has been invalidated almost. Like I said, we get back above this trend line, it's going to be invalidated, especially if we get back above like 528, 530, above this previous lower high right here. If we get back above this, it's 100% invalidated. Right now, I would give about an 85% invalidation rate if I wanted to put a number on it. Other than that, like I said, also on the daily time frame, we had an engulfing candle right here on September 8th. Engulfing this previous candle on September 7th out of the golden zone. This was the first signal that a reversal was going to happen or potentially happen. I called this out on the Discord and also made a video or two about it. This engulfing candle, and like I said, a lot of people would want to see the base of this candle be higher than the wicks of the previous candle, but either way, it still looks engulfing to me. All right, it's still essentially engulfing this previous candle, in my opinion. And you can see what happened here. It played out that way. So essentially, we're just waiting for price to get back above this trend line. Everything looks pretty good. Today closed at 450. Let's check our pivot points real quick. I think we bounced off pivot. Yeah, we had an S1 pivot point right here at 419 in the golden zone. We had some variance here, got back above it with a nice green candle, that engulfing candle, and then the next couple candles were green as well. So that was we had a good bounce off that pivot point. The next pivot up is at 508. That is back above that trend line. And like I said, it's really gonna depend if we hit that, if we get back above this trend line. And even then, if we get close to this pivot point, we still need to get above structure here about 528. So essentially this little zone here is a zone we would need to get over to really have that last confirmation that this head and shoulders pattern is completely invalidated. And I think it's going to happen personally. That's kind of a biased statement. Obviously, I can't predict these things. I wish I could. But if we do get back above the trend line, you're probably going to see this pivot point get tested. And if we get above that pivot point, you're probably going to see this zone get tested here up to about 540. And if that breaks, well, we're probably going to make a higher high on this move before coming back down at some point and making another trend line test, a test point on the trend line. But like I said, right now, and to be honest, you could argue that this was a trend line test point. I'm not going to count it as the third one just because of the variance here in this move, and we did break below the trend line. So I'm not counting that as a test point. Okay, we have 1, 2. We need a third one. This would be the third one, all right? We just need to get back above the trend line. We can call that the third test point, verifying an uptrend on the daily time frame. That is pretty bullish. This whole setup looks pretty bullish to me. It really does. You know what I mean? We pull up the SMAs here. You guys are going to see these SMAs. Let me pull it up. Where are we at? There we go. So we had the golden cross here on August 19th. Price has not really reflected that yet. We did get a little jump. Price went from 446 up to about 541. That is a $1 swing. That's a pretty good move. But I don't think that this move is over. I personally believe that we're going to see some more and a higher share price off this golden cross. Now, if you go to a weekly, you're going to see a death cross potentially happen, but the 200 SMA is pretty horizontal here, and it leads me to believe that probably likely we're just going to, if we do get a death cross, it's going to be short-lived. We're going to have a quick recovery, in my opinion, all right? And I could be wrong, could be way off base. We could come back down to 250. That's where market makers want to take the stock right now, but there's a lot more liquidity on the top side of the market, and I just don't think that that's going to happen. So like I said, essentially on the weekly time frame, we have some rejection. We need to get above the 200 SMA, and getting above the 200 puts us back above that trend line basically. And then getting to that next pivot point would put us back above the 50, which would make the death cross very short lived. We can get back above the 50 SMA on the daily. We zoom out here. You guys can see this looks bullish. It does. You see the 50 coming down, which is elusively bullish. It looks kind of bearish, but it's not. The SMAs are kind of horizontal. So we're going to get a quick death cross, I think, and price is going to get back above that 50. We'll probably make a higher high on this move, probably somewhere near the supply zone. Now, this supply zone that I've been talking about for a few weeks now, I think maybe a little longer, this has given us some trouble, but so did that $4 supply zone we had before. And we broke above that. It took a couple tries, but we did get above it and level up. I think the same thing is going to happen here. As soon as we get above the supply zone, the next level up is really like 690 to about 750 on the weekly. So pretty big zone, but anything over $7 is awesome. All right, that's just absolutely stellar. And I do believe it's going to happen in the near future. Like I said, take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not a financial advisor, but I know these zones and I know this stock, and I've been sniping this stock for a while now. So, maybe do something there if you want to do some calls or whatever, whatever your heart desires. Just make sure you use proper risk management there. And that's really all there is right now, guys. We need to get back above the trend line. We have the rejection confirmations. We need to get back above the 200 and the 50 on the weekly and retest the supply zone up here that goes from about 590 to about 625. That zone is going to get tested again. And hopefully, with any luck, we can break through the supply zone and level up once again, making a higher high on the higher time frames. Everything looks good in my opinion. The chart looks great. It actually looks like it's ready to just blast off. Anybody that knows price action, like I do, you would look at this chart and say, okay, wow, that looks pretty bullish. So, and I think if you show somebody this chart that knows price action, they'd probably come to the same conclusion. So like I said, bullish as ever on this stock. Internally, everything looks good. Just waiting for market makers to make that deal with us. Not market makers, I apologize. OEMs. We're waiting for OEMs to make that deal with us. And we're ready for market makers to take this thing up and start targeting that liquidity on the top side of the market. If you guys like my content, if you like price action, Microvision, Forex, stocks, cryptos, what else? Futures, anything. I do a lot of trading content on this channel. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.